The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
It was a nice that happened in 1929. In 1929, the Frierdiker Lubavitcher Rebbe was visiting Eretz Yisrael. It was a very, very big Indian. It wasn't so positive in those years for somebody to go to Eretz Yisrael, and that the world-famous Tzaddik Frierdiker Rebbe Lubavitcher Rebbe went to Eretz Yisrael. It was a huge thing, and thousands of people coming. It was a whole big Indian. And he was in Yerushalayim. He was staying in a little big malon, in a little hotel someplace in Yerushalayim. And it happened that there was a Jew who, when he was younger and he was a boy, a young man, he had learned in Lubavitch, in Tom Chitimim, in Lubavitch Yeshiva. As a child, he was Lubavitcher Chassid. And he came from Lubavitch Chassidim. In the meantime, he left, and he came to Eretz Yisrael, and he dropped everything in Yiddishkeit. Like many of those Jews did of that generation. He left his Yiddishkeit in Russia, and he came to Eretz Yisrael. And he heard that the Lubavitcher Rebbe was here, and he got, excited about that, but at the same time, he was determined that he's not going to give in to any of that pull. And it happened that this Jew, the way that he went to work every day, where he lived in Yerushalayim, is that he would pass that hotel. And there always Chassidim and other people and big Rabbanim standing outside. There was a big commotion because the Lubavitcher Rebbe was in there. And the Chotzer Pnimis was the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So what did he do, this guy? Listen to what a Jew could think of. What a Jew could think of. He davka put on a tiny pair of little shorts like the Israelis used to wear. I was a little kid. When I lived there, that's what we used to wear. Tiny pair of shorts with a little gufiya, a little cut-out undershirt, and sandals, and kovat temple, like they used to wear, these funny little hats. He's not from at all, the guy. And he decided he'd do this, and this way, if he dresses that way, he knows he'll never go into the Rebbe like that. He wouldn't be able to go into the Rebbe like that. They wouldn't let him in, and he wouldn't go in. And this way, for like 3, 4, 5 days, he's walking past the thing, and he sees all the Chassidim. They're mostly young guys. They don't know who he is. They don't recognize him. He's clean-shaven. They wouldn't recognize him from so many years. And this Yid, he goes past the hotel with his little tik, his little suitcase, his briefcase. And anyway, he's going there a few days, and then he hears that the guys are talking, that the Rebbe is leaving. There's the last day. He's leaving Yerushalayim. So he was filled with the most unbelievable hishtaikus, a longing to see the Rebbe. So all of a sudden he put his suitcase, his briefcase on the ground, and he starts to head inside. The Chassidim says, "Who are you? What are you? What's going on over here?" The guy's with an undershirt walking in, and he just, pushes his way in, and he gets and people are trying to hold him, and he throws people off, and he couldn't hold himself back. The Rebbe's here, and he throws the door open, a chutzpah, and he opens the door, and the Heilige Rebbe is sitting there. The Holy Frierdiker was sitting there. He was looking at a sefer or something, and the Rebbe looks up from his sefer, and he looks at him in the eyes, and he recognizes him. And I don't know what the guy's name was. Let's say Yankel. And he says, Yankel. And he gives such a big smile to the Rebbe. And he says, Medjaitzach. You make circles, you run around, you make circles. Obitz himself, but in the end, Chachmetzach says, Amen. You can't help yourself but come back together with me. We have to be together. We have to be together. So we meet again. How do we know this story? Because when the Frierdiker Rebbe died, it was many years later, the Rebbe died, there was a kinus in Tel Aviv. The Jew moved at that time to Tel Aviv, in the area of Nachlat Binyamin, and there was a Chabad shul. I think it's still there, and there was a kinus of people who came to hear Hespedim for the Lubavitcher Rebbe who just died. The Rebbe, of course, died. He was an American when he died, and this Jew came, but he came by this time in his life. It was a very long time. He already went like a regular Lubavitcher Chassid, and he got up there and he cried. And he told over this mice. He said that this would happen between me and the Rebbe. Medjaitzach. You could circle around the Chatzir, and you're afraid, you think that you can't come in. And the Rebbe looked at him and gave the biggest smile, and he hugged him, and he said, "Oh, but some saif, but in the end, we're back together." That's how it is with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Purim is a time when Hashem Baruch is saying that to us, stop circling, come around. But Rabbi Shalom, I'm wearing shorts and sandals. You think I'm your Rosh Hashiva or something? Do you think in Shemayim they have just an Indian like that, like hooks to keep your hat or something? Rabbi Shalom said, I don't give a hoot what you're dressed as. You're one of mine. Come on. And that's the end of the whole Amalek. No Amalek, no distance, no Ashakarcha, no Baderach, no Ata'ayef Yageya, nothing. Amalek is gone. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu is Messiach with each and every one of us. The Yichud Shalom, the full Yichud of Chassan and Kala. Each and every one of us should be zeichet to have the courage like that Jew did in Yerushalayim on that day. And to just go past the guards and go past the door and forget about any invitations. Come one, come all.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org